Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis of gold and silver, see what's going on. We're going to touch on platinum and the XAU to gold ratio, start looking at some of this stuff and see how they're interacting with each other. Again, I'll give you my financial opinion. It's just my opinion. Please don't use it as advice. I'm going to let the charts do the talking, so let's dive right in. We're going to start with the dollar, DXY, the Dixie. We broke out of this pattern here to the upside. I think we're probably going to do a retest and then head on lower eventually. The big picture view is this big guy coming up here. I think we broke to the downside. We're going to come up and tag it. Then we'll see if this thing turns around and heads lower. Zooming in on it, you can see that we went into an ascending wedge. We broke the ascending wedge to the downside and then broke the downtrend upward. They move quickly on the very short time frame. But on the big time scales, I think we're just back testing and then we'll eventually roll on over at some point. Again, this index is just the dollar versus other, I call it toilet paper currencies. So even if the dollar is going up, the absolute value of the dollar could still be going down, which means that you have inflation. The dollar's getting weaker. It's just not getting weaker against other currencies outside of the United States, that basket of currencies. Looking at the 10-year yield, I still think the yields are going to go higher at some point. We had a fearful week last week, and today we were up 6.85% on the yield. This is still an inverted head and shoulders. I think it's going to break to the upside, and we're going to eventually get higher yields. But here we are. We were trying to break below this support line. It broke. It came back and broke back above it. So we're still within this channel, so to speak, between this resistance line and support line. So everything's still intact for a potential break higher at some point. Looking at gold itself, here is gold. I've got the little downward channel that we've been going in. We've broken that channel to the upside. That's this guy right here. Big buying pressure, small selling pressure. I think it looks really good to potentially move on up. If we need the buyers to step in, but it looks like the buyers are in control at this moment. Looking at silver, silver also, looking at the short term looks decent. Big long term, we broke to the upside. Nice big breakout here. We've been chopping sideways for a little while. Going on a yearly candlestick, we've got the strong downtrend line that we've put with the fear. This big old fear trade. It looks like to me that we're putting in, and it's trying to put in a bottom. I'm just going to kind of draw this guy here. And if you're new to stuff, you're just going to say, oh, he's just drawing in a bunch of lines. Well, that's ultimately what it is a bunch of lines. You have a downtrend line that you're trying to break. You break the downtrend line, and now we have to hold this 22.25 area right down here. I have that other horizontal line drawn in. But the downtrend's broken right here. And hopefully we can gain some traction moving on up. Now, platinum looks even better. I think platinum looks ready to go to the upside. On a 1 year, well, I'll back out a little bit. We've got the big pattern we broke to the upside. We had a return move. I'm looking for the bottom of this return move. We've got this kind of descending wedge. It's a very small descending wedge that we could be trying to break to the upside in. If you keep zooming in, and here's that descending wedge. We're coming to this wedge. We're basically finding a base, and we're not moving any lower at this time. So I think we're probably going to try to move on higher in the short term here. I think platinum looks good. I'm buying another ounce here myself. So zooming on out, this is the XAU to gold ratio. There we go. So this is the XAU to gold ratio. It's been chopping sideways. We've gone on down. We've broken out of the descending wedge pattern to the upside. We've been moving sideways recently. I think this looks good to move on higher over time. If you look, it's a downward motion. We've squared that up to a sideways motion, and then eventually we're going to move on up and go into an uptrend. That uptrend, let me see here if we can kind of zoom in on this. What we need to do is kind of break through this guy here. We break and close above this, and I would say we have our uptrend. We've got the lows are kind of creeping on up into it. So that's exactly what we want to see. We've got big buying pressure, and the rest is just kind of slowly drifting sideways, probably waiting for gold to take off. And then XAU is going to put on the afterburners and go up faster than gold for a good while. I do think that we're going to reach levels probably in this 0.25 to 0.35 range up here, somewhere in this range up there. So we've got a good amount of appreciation that we can have for the gold and silver index and mining companies before it becomes overvalued. Here's Karora Resources. We've got this nice big sell-off. It tried breaking out of its upper resistance line, sold back off, and we're back here. Looks like it's ready to turn around here. It's breaking its downtrend. It's trying to make its way further upward. We'll see. We'll see. It's still very early here to claim that this is going on up. Here's EXK. Looking at EXK. Reverse head and shoulders. It broke out and then it came back down. We are putting in a bullish hammer pattern here. It's probably a short-term bottom where I'm looking for this to turn and move on up. That's what this hammer pattern is right here. Right there is what I'm looking at. So we're coming on down, put a little hammer pattern. It's kind of a sharp reversal pattern. Hopefully we can get some traction and move on up. Here's SILJ, SILJ, downtrend line. This one's kind of broken out. And it's all over the place in the short term. This was the reverse head and shoulders that failed. Long term, we're still in this big old pattern, moving back and forth. This is 1, 2, 3. It usually breaks at any point now. So sometimes they can go all the way back and back test down here. Sometimes they turn and break. Sometimes they break right off the top on the number 3 leg. GDX, this is what it looks like. Let me go to a 1 year. This is a daily candlestick here. This has got some wicks on the bottom here. So it traded down, came back up, traded down, came back up. And now we're moving on up on the daily charts today. So nice kind of a strong move. It looks like we're trying to put the buyers are trying to put together a little rally here. Let's see how far this rally can take us. Metallic minerals, big old pattern. We're back in the pattern playing with the upper resistance line on this guy here. We're still kind of chilling down here. Still have a downtrend intact so far. And this is a daily candlestick. No bottom yet, it looks like, but we're slowing down and coming to some support underneath here. So probably pretty soon. Koya Resources is still in a downtrend. I wouldn't touch it yet. Discovery Silver, nice big bullish engulfing here. Looks like we're trying to make a move to the upside right now, is what it looks like. First Majestic Silver, bullish engulfing hammer pattern here. I'm willing to bet that this is probably going to try to move on up. That's what it looks like to me. Zooming way on in, you can kind of see where it's getting a little bit of traction. This is the hammer pattern here. Hopefully we can get some traction and move on up. Here's Newmont. Newmont's got nice little buying pressure coming through here and small selling pressure. Buyers are in control. Let's move this thing higher, Newmont. Good job. Here's the amount of gold. Let's just draw we've got kind of a trend line going through this guy there. Back tested, and we're coming on up. So it looks good. Today looks good. Today, past couple trading days looks pretty good. Here's Impact Silver. Looks like it's slowing down. It's starting to move sideways and chop sideways. It's squaring up the move, so to speak. Hopefully we can move on up. That's it. That's it, trying to square it up and trying to break the downtrend. And Aftermath Silver, looking at this here. This is on a very short-term basis. It looks something like that. So it's just kind of moving sideways in a slightly downward slanting channel. Here's Sandstorm Gold. The 1 year, it looks like we got nice, good bullish Let me see here. It could be a bullish engulfing here. Maybe we can start a run, move it higher here. We're just under that support line. So there is support where it's at. Hopefully we can find some support and move and break above it. Here's Franco, Nevada. Let me back out here. It's almost like this line should be down here. Something like that, maybe. Because we're hitting the bottoms here, kind of cutting it off. So Franco, Nevada's right at its support zone. Doing the 1 year. It's got nice little wicks here, nice hammer pattern, bouncing back up above its support. So that looks good. Buyers are in control at the moment. I'd like to see this thing move up. It looks good. Zooming back out, this is EMX Royalty. This one doesn't look too hot. It's broken out with some okay volume. Breaking to the downside. I'd kind of hold off on this one until I see some strong support. Still looks kind of weak to me. Tune Resource has been playing with its support line a little while. Nice big update today, 7.74. Maybe we can get a rally and rally back up to it and break through it. But that's what it looks like there. Wheaton Precious Metals, another royalty company, bullish engulfing. Hopefully we can get a run here to move to the upside. Zooming in on it. Here's our buying pressure down here, and the selling pressure is not as much. I would suspect that this would move on up to the upside in the short term. Hopefully it can get enough momentum to break through some of this downtrend stuff. Gold Royalty Company, it's still looking kind of not that great. I would say it is coming under pressure. I probably wouldn't do anything at the moment. MTA, it's broken out of its pattern down here. Let me see if I drew. Oh man, there we go. The logarithmic. We're coming on down here, zooming in on it. Looks like it's breaking its little downtrend here. It's trying to. Let's see what tomorrow has. We might move to the upside. If tomorrow brings us back down below it, the downtrend's not broken. If we move on up, I would say it's broken. Mavericks Metals. This is another royalty company. This one probably would be through here, I think. It's not looking too hot. Needs to turn around first and move on up. I'd be holding on. Here's Royal Gold. Royal Gold's coming right into the apex of this corner here on the short term, and I'm looking for a break. Man, it needs to break somewhere. It's just way into the corner of this guy right now. Hopefully we can get some momentum into the upside and break to the upside. A Cisco Gold Royalty. Let's go back to the 5-year. We're right below this support line. Hopefully we can get some support and move on up. We're playing with it. Big old day today, 2.59%. It's pretty big for some of these. Looks like we're breaking back above it just recently. We do have a lot of momentum here coming back down, so I don't know if I'd be jumping in yet with this momentum, but we'll see if we can hold up above this support line. So that's what I've got for today. I think Platinum looks probably the best of the group. Looks like we've broken to the upside of its descending wedge pattern to the upside. I'll probably buy another ounce here and just slowly cost average in like I've been doing. And that's kind of my plan. A lot of the mining companies, I think they still need a little bit more time. Some of the royalty companies, they could come back up and roll back over. So that's kind of what I'm waiting to see if they roll over. And if they don't roll over, I mean, maybe they're good to go. The short-term stuff is really hard to read, guys. So I like to sprinkle money in. I like to cost average in. Because if something looks good and it's putting in a bottom, sprinkle a little bit in, buy into strength. And that's about all you can do on the short term. Short-term traders get absolutely slaughtered. They lose like 90+% lose money. It's like 92% or something like that. They lose their butt in the short term. What I use these charts for is to get a big picture view. We try to time we try to purchase time our purchases as best we can. And that's what the purpose of this is. It also can kind of tell, like, it gets you connected with the stocks. You can see which ones are turning, which ones are low. You know exactly what you're going to buy when you watch these things, and you kind of get a list. You're like, this is the next one I'm going to buy. This is another one that's very low. Right when it turns, I'm going to buy that one. And that's about the best you can do. And sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes it turns and then comes back down from news or whatever it may be. But that's all you can do is try your best. So don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect. No one is. I'm definitely not perfect. So all we can do is try our best and go after the ones that we think are the highest rewards given the risk that's out there. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.